Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. I'm Joe.
And I am Calvin.
Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. Take two.
Alrighty. So, jumping right into your shows, Calvin.
That happened with Joe. Skitty bop, badoo bop.
Didn't we agree to skip it and go straight into 90 Day?
I like what happened with Joe.
Okay.
You had some good information for the people.
That happened with Joe. Plies is trying to sue Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and Soulja Boy and Glorilla for their latest song collaboration, saying that they stole his beat. When it turns out he may have stolen a beat from somebody else.
Well,
entirely.
let's not say he stole.
He didn't pay for it.
Well, the person told him. The person, I guess, his people reach out to that person's people. And they told him, cool.
That is the rumor on the street. But the fact is, he did not pay for that beat. And no one said nothing.
Long story short, he can't sue for something he doesn't own.
Basically, he was trying to say Soulja Boy played him and is taking money from him. And Soulja Boy did a whole live where he was like, that man is on crack, because what is he even talking about? Also, he didn't attempt to sue Soulja Boy during Soulja Boy's single of his supposed stolen beat. So it's very interesting.
Pretty much, I think it was Pretty Boy Swag. Stupid ass song.
Okay, so yeah. The other thing is that Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, aka Sean Combs, aka honestly an abuser. So
Dude Love.
Was it Dude Love or was it Love something else?
It pretty much it was Love something, but if you see them videos, ain't no
love in them. So
yep.
Diddy's legal team was trying to say that the feds botched their raid by trying to say something was happening when it wasn't. The allegation was that Diddy was witness tampering. He was getting other people in the prison to call his witnesses, basically, and either threaten them or try to bribe them before his upcoming trial. And then the feds raided his cell and they found all kinds of stuff like notes and whatnot, also indicating this. And the legal team was saying that those notes that he stole were actually for legal eyes only. He wasn't saying anything necessarily.
Basically, he said it was in there. Take that.
They said that they said that these legals were clearly labeled that they were for legal materials. And then when the feds were like, "Okay, yeah, let's show us where it said that," it didn't show up like that in the pictures whatsoever. There was nothing indicating that these documents were legal. So the judge was like, I don't know why you're lying to me, but we're going to set a date for another situation to talk about this again, him possibly being released until his trial. Come with some straight facts, please. And that's where they left that. Also, Diddy's legal team is trying to say that the Cassie video that went viral of
AI.
The hotel situation was edited. It didn't happen that way. Which begs the question, why did Diddy then apologize? So many things. And that's it with That Happened with Joe.
Because it was supposed to be played in reverse, not
reverse.
The regular way.
So instead of him knocking her to the ground, she really jumped up and then
he was picking her up.
She was already laying down.
Yeah, and then she just down. He was trying to pick her up. He was trying to pick her up. She's already laying down.
She kicked herself in the stomach. I got you. That's insane. He
tripped and he didn't kick her. He tripped. And she fell and he tried trying to pick her up.
This is insane.
So it was supposed to be in reverse.
This is insane.
Yeah.
He didn't drag her by her hair. Her hair got caught in his watch. It was a situation.
It was spirits dragging her down the hall.
Spirits.
It wasn't him. If you see the video.
He was trying to exercise them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. There was a whole thing happening for her.
Exactly. That's why he was in a towel, because he was trying to baptize all of them spirits that was out there trying to hurt that poor girl.
He was multitasking.
Yes.
Absolutely insane. Also, I'm kind of shocked that it's still gone as long as it has. I really thought he'd be out by now in another country at this point.
Nah, that's why he's not out, because they
know he can go to another country.
Yeah, they know he's a flight risk.
It's very interesting. So that's it. That's all I got for That Happened. On to 90
That
days
happened, Joe. Boom, boom.
before the 90 days?
90 days before the 90 days.
Go. We're going to talk about Vea and Sunny.
Vea and Sunny. Pretty much Vea and Sunny, it's the morning after. They're both looking for their panties and drawers. They had some good sex, some good times. He said, see that smile on their face? Enough said. Which, as a guy, you know, a smile can mean anything. Because they can mean they're just happy that you're there. You're together. Doesn't mean that the sex was good. Anywho, pretty much they said they were body rocking, knocking them boots until like 4 in the morning. So, but it's quickly turned into sour grapes when she asked him to come meet her her ex, Rory, to talk to him and get to meet him. At first, Sonny's like, nah, but eventually he goes, okay. So they get in a car, they go meet Rory at a pool hall or something. They get there, and it goes off the rails very quickly. Pretty much, Sonny wanted to make sure that she wasn't. He wants to make sure she isn't in love with him anymore, and that she can trust him or rely on him, and not have to rely on him anymore.
On her ex, right?
Yeah, she wants to make sure that, I guess, there's no real feelings there, to make him feel better and to let her know that, hey, you can rely on me. You don't need him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, Sonny makes it known that Rory ain't going nowhere. So Sonny,
Vea makes it known, or Sonny makes it known?
Vea's the girl?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Vea makes it known that Rory ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonny's like, you know what? You have to choose between me and him. And Vea's like, he's not going anywhere. We've been through too much. He's like, you don't need him anymore. Tell him he can go home. He sees that I'm not going to do anything to you. You're fine. And she's like, no, he's not going anywhere. So Sonny goes, I'm out. And he leaves. And pretty much, he's basically saying he's done with Vea. Vea chases him down, and that's pretty much the end of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Or their entanglement, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
We should see if they stay together or not. But right now, Sonny's saying he's done.
Okay.
And my thing is, I don't know if the ex is Rory. The ex is still in love with her,
mm-hmm.
or I don't know. He's being a dick. I don't know.
I think it's just a codependency. I don't know that he necessarily has romantic feelings for her. I think they're just codependent on each other.
But
we've seen it before. Veronica and what's his face.
Yeah, you said yeah. I guess, but then you're going to be in a lot of relationship that ends this way, because at some point the other person want to be your rock.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, her friends already kind of mentioned that when she first announced that she was bringing Rory with her.
True.
They were like, you know, this is usually a source of contention with your other perspectives, basically, with Rory always being in the pocket.
Apparently, she doesn't think that's the issue.
Well, again, her backstory is that, you know, she grew up in the foster care system. I'm sure having her chosen family around her is very important for her, and Rory is that person. She says it's because they lost a child together. It's kind of like the trauma bonded them, basically, but it's clearly unhealthy. So, yeah.
And that's pretty much Sonny and Vea
for
this episode.
We got Joe and
Magda.
Yeah.
So pretty much the team or the show is trying to get in touch with Joe. They can't. Finally, he answers the door, and it turns out that he just overslept, and he still has to pack, and he has to be in line at security to get on that flight in 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much he kills about an hour trying to pack because he didn't pack the night before, which I don't understand why he didn't do it. Anywho, moving on, he finally gets packed, gets in the van. He's in the van. He calls Magda and let her know, hey, yeah, I'm on my way. I just overslept, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Hangs up the phone, and he goes, oh, by the way, we got to go back. They're like, why do we have to go back? He's like, I left my passport on the counter. They go back, get his passport. They rush back to the airport. He gets in line. And he's in security line for 30 minutes. And now he's through the security line. He runs into his plane. He makes his flight by the skin of his teeth. They back forward, a flashback 24 hours prior. And you meet Magda. And she's playing volleyball because she's a true volleyball vet. She's been playing since she was 12.
It's her passion.
It's her passion. You also get to meet her dog named Hades, who is very protective of her. Apparently, when her ex was cheating on her, the dog eventually attempted to bite his penis or whatever, or try to bite him. That's what she said. If you don't check it out with her, that's her story she told on the show. On Sunday, she meets her mom because her and her mom are very close. They talk every Sunday and have dinner. She's there, talk to her mom. That's when you find out more about her backstory, how Joe is not the first guy who she's picked up and followed behind quickly. She dated a guy in Germany who she was dating for like maybe a couple of weeks, picked up everything, moved to Germany behind him. Come to find out he was still with his ex and he cheated on her with his ex. So she came back to Poland. She was also a correctional officer, but she's already quit that job because she's trying to get to the States to be with Joey and pretty much pop out kids. Finally, Joe gets to Poland. She picks him up. They kiss. They get in the car and they drive off. And I don't remember them ever being back in the episode.
They probably left it there. I know.
And I think they left it there.
I'm sure they did.
Moving on to, I think it's
Vanya
and Bojozo.
But let's talk about Brian and what's her face?
Brian and
Ingrid.
So Brian and Ingrid, pretty much Brian comes to pick up Ingrid from her home. He's going to take her to Rafisi Beach. I think that's how you say it.
Another place in Brazil.
So they have the last couple of weeks together and spend together. He picks her
they're
up.
staying there for the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I guess he's going to stay there until he leaves.
Whoa.
He goes, he meets her son. He brings him a toy. She introduced him as Uncle Brian, which I was told that's probably a
cultural thing.
And it's not similar to America where that'd be suspect or that can mess a child up.
It's not even really suspect in America. There's a lot of cultures in America that also do the same thing.
It's called weird. Moving. So on
it's better than dad.
Yeah, that's true too. They're pretty much on their way to the airport to fly to this place, to this beach. While in the car, they're talking and going over what happened between him and her mom. And she pretty much let them know that, hey, my parents are still close to my ex. My dad loves my ex. My mom loves my ex. They want me to get back with him, but I don't want to. I left him for a reason. We broke up. It's my decision to break up with him. I don't care what they think. I don't care how they feel. I don't want to be with him. I'm with you right now. So let's just enjoy each other's time. They get on a plane. They land at this beach area. Pretty much, Brian used to live there for 2 years. So he has an apartment there. But he takes her to a hotel because she wants to stay at a hotel and not stay at his apartment with him.
Has he been paying on this apartment this whole time? I got so many questions.
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's pretty much an apartment that's already set up to his needs. So he goes back and picks her up at the hotel the next morning. And they pretty much go for a walk. Then they get a bike, rent a bike. He takes his belt off, ties it to the bike. And he pretty much holding on while she pedals the bike. They stop to this little shop to get 2 cold coconuts and pretty much have a conversation.
A conversation about what?
Him getting old and her possibly taking care of him and all the other
like caretaker stuff.
Yeah, and all the other pretty much possibly coming to the States and her having to probably get her son. Eventually have to want her son to move to the States with him, possibly meeting his people or whatever,
Hmm.
and what's gonna happen. And that's when he kind of figured out that she's like, I don't really want to
Be a
do
caretaker.
do all that stuff. You can do it yourself. I don't want to do a lot of that stuff. And he's like, well, I'm getting older now, and at some point, the other person is going to have to help me out a little bit more. And like, that's the sacrifice you make for somebody you love. If you have to do what you need to do to take care of whatever it is, then you do that.
Yeah,
But
but that's also like somebody you've invested time in. You know what I mean?
I just think
I don't think love automatically means you're going to do all this stuff.
exactly. I just think he just did too much too soon with her.
Hmm.
And I think now she's having to figure out how she fits with all that and how comfortable she is with doing a lot of stuff.
Right.
And she's figured out she's not that comfortable doing some stuff. And he has to accept it or move on.
Well, I mean, also this is their first face to face, so I feel like he was like, "Here's this giant bunch of stuff. Ready?" And she was like, "No."
he data dumped too much.
Hmm.
The whole thing of putting his catheter in front of her or trying to show her
On the first night,
on
that's
the
a
first
lot.
night was a lot. So he just did too much. And I can't be mad at her for being kind of shocked and me like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Especially like since it's been all video. I'm sure in all video he seems very capable, and then like in real person, she's like, "Oh wait."
yeah, so that's pretty much what it ends with them having those conversations.
Okay. And then,
Moving on to Bojo and what's the girl name? Starts with V. Vanya.
I think you're missing another couple.
That- that- that-
Chitty and Rain.
Well, pretty much Rain and Chitty was pretty much a reflection of what happened. Rain going over the last talk they had, how she felt bad vibes, and then she looked outside and saw his sister there, and like, oh, that was his sister. That's why the bad vibes, and why he was talking to her like that when he really wasn't talking to her like anything. He was just telling her, "Hey, you have a temper. That's the issue in our relationship. When you have a temper, you say the first thing that pops in your head. You don't care.
I feel like that's not a good qualifier statement. You have a temper. Everybody has tempers.
No, there's a temper, and then there's like your you
Your reactions when you have your temper.
you go to another level.
I feel like he should have
That's
said it like that. He just made it sound like you get mad and that's why we can't be together.
no,
And that's like, I feel like that's a very short ended kind
no.
of
He
statement.
literally explains like he's like you go off the deep end.
Mhm.
You say things very disrespectful, and you have no. You just say whatever you want to say, and then I have to sit here and then defend myself, or you don't even listen to what I have to say because you're so angry, and then you get kind of threatening,
Mhm.
and then you're not even rational,
Mhm.
and that's not healthy. But she was seeing it him just making stuff up. Pretty much, she didn't do any self reflection. Then you see Chitty has his little talk with his sister and her husband,
Mhm.
reflecting, and his sister was like, "You need find somebody who's going to actually treat you with some type of decency and respect."
Mhm.
And then Rain gets on a plane. She lands home, and she's back to the people who love her kids and her chickens who really love her. I don't know how she knows the chickens love her. I guess they cluck and tell her and love, or they write it in the ground in the dirt. I don't know. Who
I
knows?
want to know why we had this as an extra clip for them. We already saw them break up. Why did we need this part as well? Like this is so
I think it was filler. I think it just was filler.
clearly was.
So
What about Lauren and
that's pretty much it for Rain and Chitty,
what about Lauren and Faith?
Lauren and Faith. So Faith and Lauren pretty much goes. He buys like an Asian broom. He buys some wood
You don't have to give us the purchases. What's the big what's the big parts
and
of
some
their
squid
visit?
for the mom.
Okay.
Pretty much, he meets her family. That's when you find that Faith has like two twin brothers, a sister and a trans sister, older trans sister. Pretty much, she's meeting them. The mom says he's guapo. He thinks guapo means white, but it means handsome. She tells him it means handsome because he said it. She asked him what he means. He says white. She said no, it's being handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the sisters and everybody likes him. They think he's cool. She says, "I'm just not gonna tell them right now. I want to get them. I want them to get to know him on a good foot before I let them know that he's a whore with the illness.
Mm-hmm.
He has an illness of whoring or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, she gets with her sisters and she talks to them, and that's when she tells them she has a trust issue with him, and they're just friends, and they're trying to get back to being boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right.
But they're friends right now. Her
biological sister,
straight sister,
nope, cisgendered sister,
thinks that yeah, you're right. You shouldn't be in a relationship with him if he's a cheater.
Right.
Her trans sister
Mm-hmm.
understands and is like, well, you should. It's if he loves you and he wants to be with you and he accepts you for who you are, then you should forgive him and look and kind of like look the other way.
It kind of sounds like, hey, settle for this because you never know.
And that's
you don't know if
basically
you're going to get another chance, girl.
Basically, what she's saying is settle
Mm-hmm.
because she's like, no one else is going to love you or
She made
be
it's
accepting
rare.
of you,
Right. It's rare you're going to find somebody else.
who you truly are.
Plus,
And
she's
this
in
guy-
the Philippines and he's a foreigner. I'm sure she was like, girl,
Yeah.
this
Also-
is an opportunity.
Also, she did ask him about his family, how his family thinks about Faith.
Who's she, Faith or Bay?
Bay asked, what's his face?
Lauren
about his family, how they view him and her.
Okay.
View him
And his likes. Yeah, yeah.
His likes. He's like, they don't. My mom doesn't accept it, but I don't care. I don't have to sleep with her. I'm with
everybody else and Faith.
everybody else's Faith. And that's
Yikes.
pretty much
Yikes.
their episode of him just meeting the family and Faith having to sit down with her sister about what's really going on.
Okay. On to my favorite couple, Vanya and Bojo.
So Vanya and Bojo, pretty much Vanya is on the phone with her cousin, telling her cousin pretty much how the situation is, how she got there, and where the state of the relationship or non-relationship is right now. Her cousin's like, oh, how's he not romantically attracted to you or has to see if there's chemistry? He was FaceTiming you the whole time you guys are talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys broke up and got back together. So if he doesn't know yet, then I don't know what to tell you. I think you should just...
They broke up and got back together also?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
They were talking. He broke up with her to get back with the ex.
Oh my God. Go home, girl. Go home.
Then
this is
I
insane.
guess it didn't work out with the ex.
He is playing in your face.
It didn't work out with the ex. And then
he got back with her?
They got back to talking to each other.
And she looks like the ex? This is too much.
So pretty much they're having to get ready to go to...
they go to the dinner. They go to a dinner with his friends.
To meet his friends. During the dinner, his friends are like, asking him questions. She pretty much telling him the situation he's been in. And his friends are like, dude, what are you doing? She came here all the way from you should know, and she's trying to build a rapport with you. You need to spend the time with her.
So they basically call him out on all his stuff, basically.
Pretty much just basically side with her. They finally, to me, with everybody coming down on him, I think his defense mechanism popped up. He's like, you know what? We should just take a break because now it's getting too heated animosity, and we should just take a break and like for a day or two, you just be to yourself and I just be to myself or whatever.
Except that she's not in that country for a very long time.
So
she came there with the specific purpose of exploring her relationship with him.
Yeah, so she loses it and she leaves. And
yes, that's embarrassing.
Walks out and she starts crying.
That's embarrassing.
And his friends are like, dude, what are you doing? His really tall friend, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but he has a really tall friend.
Called tall guy friend.
He says, what you need to do is y'all just need to sit in the
lock yourselves in her apartment.
And get to know each other and just talk and see what's up. And she's like, yeah.
But he's like, no. As a matter of fact, let's take a break.
I would rather be getting to know him and doing stuff with him instead of him like showing me around Croatia.
Like a tour guide.
Like a tour guide. or whatever. She's like, and they're like, I can see that. I understand.
That's mad embarrassing. Why are you introducing me to your friends if you want this? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make
pretty much,
sense.
if you listen to his sidebar, he's like, I didn't expect it to go this way, like this.
They never do. They never expect it.
I thought we was gonna have a nice little easy, fun time. They get to know each other or whatever.
I'm already upset that you're like, I need to find out if I'm physically attracted to you.
Understand.
Why? It hasn't been smooth sailing up until this point. Why did you think now would be the smooth sailing part? Explain. I'm not a stranger. And on top of that, you told me they were together, broke up, so he get with his ex and came back.
I think he's
playing in her face.
No, I don't think he knows.
He's wasting her time.
I don't think he knows what to do.
I think he does, and he doesn't want to do it.
I don't think he knows.
It's giving fuckboy. It's giving. I want my cake, and I want to eat it too.
I don't think so, because he's not trying to sleep with her.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Then what's the point?
It seems like he's keeping her as like a just in case. He's keeping her around like a break the glass. Regardless of whether or not he wants to sleep with her, he's like, let's be friendly, but I'm also going to keep talking to you. Yeah, I said I love you. Yeah, I said we were in a relationship. But now I want to take it back. But let me introduce you to my friends. What the heck?
I don't know. I don't think
he's playing in her face.
No, I don't
he's
think
wasting her time.
I think maybe he just doesn't.
How is he not playing in her face? He's embarrassed her now at least twice.
I don't know.
At least.
Maybe he's just awkward. I don't know. I don't think he's purposely
This
doing
is
it.
not awkward. This is indecisive. This is, I thought I wanted to do all this, but now I don't want to do this, but I also don't want to stop.
Whatever.
So let's just go like this.
I'll agree that he's indecisive.
Goodness
I agree with that. I
think he's absolutely playing in her face.
I just think he's indecisive.
I don't think he's playing in her face. She's making it very clear and apparent she wants to be in a relationship with this man. And he's like, I don't know. He won't just cut it off. He said a break. Like, no.
I just think he's indecisive. And that's pretty much 90 Day Fiance the other way.
Was it the other way or before the 90 days?
Before 90 days.
Or is it the other way?
It's 90 Day. It's 90
I
days
never
before
know.
the 90 days.
It's all the same show.
This is pretty much 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days.
Okay. And we also watched 90 Day the other way. The tell-all.
To tell all.
Going to do a speed round because there's about to be 80 parts to this tell-all. This is just part 1. Statler and Dempsey broken up. They didn't even come to the tell-all. They're like, we're not doing any of that. And if you watched any part of their arc in this current season, it was terrible. It was terrible. Dempsey was trying to be happy. She was so excited to do her driving around the country thing. Statler did not want to do it from day one, but yet told Dempsey she was gung-ho for it. She was a pill the entire time. Anyway, they broke up. We also find out that Corona and Inky broke up. But the rest of the couple seem to still be together. We got James and Tata still there. Joanne and Sean are there. We've got Sarper and Shekinah. And we got Josh and Lily. Lily's still in China, though. Then we find out Inky is going to be part of this tell-all, much to Corona's surprise. So we're going to see them too.
His head is so long it takes up the whole screen.
It is. So they kick it off with Shekinah and Sarper.
Shekinah.
And it just talks about how, like, you know, the plan had been for Shekinah to move to Turkey, but she ends up not doing that. We knew she didn't want to. The entire time she was in Turkey, she was like, we're going to have to move back to the U.S.
I changed my life for Shekinah. She knows these things. I am alpha.
So Sarper has moved to the U.S.
I've been here for 3 days.
And they also touch on how, like, Shekinah is very possessive of Sarper. And he talks about how, like, very gingerly he's got to treat her before he's, you know, on her bad side.
I have one red line. I don't give up my position, nor do I share my phone.
It's very toxic, and it was very unnerving that Shekinah was like, this is normal behavior. Like, oh, great. Then
what do you expect from people that just eat blocks of butter?
They also split a bar of butter because they're on the carnivore diet, and everybody was like, that is straight butter.
I thought it was a big ass block of cheese. I'm like, that's a lot of cheese.
And they had not one but 2 bars with them. So
can you imagine a stick of margarine just sitting there eating it?
Did you see Sarper pull it out of his jacket pocket?
I thought they picked it up off the table. Oh, they got cheese on the table. I'm like,
First of all, she kind of pulled it out of her little purse, and then Sarper, when they had their little break and she was mad at him, he pulled it out of his jacket pocket. He pulled out a full bar. Anyway, they go into the other situations that are happening in that relationship, to include the show finding one of Sarper's exes who's in America to bring onto the show. It's hinted later in the show, as a spoiler, that this lady might also be his therapist. But before we get there, they just really established that this lady had a long history with Sarper. And she kind of at first doesn't believe it. She's like, Sarper doesn't have any female friends. I made sure of that. I made sure he didn't have no female friends.
And she
tries to belittle this lady.
And she literally said it in that order.
She really tries to belittle this lady and is like, there's no way you were that close. You were probably just a one night stand. It wasn't that serious, honey.
And she was like, sure.
And this lady very calmly just is like, oh no, we texted. I have all the receipts. She shows all the text messages, and it's just a lot of text messages between her and Sarper. Sarper is dying in his seat. He is a living cartoon. And she kind of just leaves.
Tell her that since you know me and you know how.
She said, you know Turkish men.
Turkish men are. Can you tell
how much have I changed?
How much I changed, please?
She kind of storms off, talks about her frustration again about how Sarper is not telling her the full story, especially regarding she's really, and I mean really focused on him potentially cheating on her.
All the weight in her body are in her lips and her cheeks.
Did he already cheat on her maybe at some point? Did he already cheat? Or she's just really threatened by how many partners he's had?
What's her form of cheating? Who knows?
Anything. Apparently.
Then yes, he's
anything
done it.
Female affiliated.
Yes, then he's done it.
So she gets upset about it. And Corona not so gently tells Sarper to handle that. They do. They come back out. And then they just talk about how they're trying to move forward as a couple right now. They're figuring it out, and he's going to try to make the best of being in America. Then we get Josh and Lily.
And he got help from his therapist.
Well, we don't know about the therapist part. They tease that as a preview for next week, where he's like, remember you told me I had to go to therapy? And she goes, yeah. And and he goes, yeah, well, that was my therapist, meaning the girl they have on the show, who used to be his ex, who he had slept with. And she was like, your therapist can't be somebody you slept with. And he's like, that was not a condition. That was not a stipulation you gave.
Which is a true statement.
So
she didn't say who it had to be.
I'm not even going to go down that road.
She just said get help.
I'm not going to go down that road.
I'm
so Josh and Lily, they talk about them as well. Sean very crassly asks them numerically, where do they think they are in their relationship on a scale of 1 to 10. Josh says a 6. Lily says a 3. And then Lily supplements that by saying that Josh has not been physically attracted to her at all. He hasn't shown any physical affection.
I have not gotten how you say boom boom in a long time.
She's like, we don't kiss, we don't hug, we don't have sex. We've had sex maybe 3 or 4 times the entirety of him living here with us. And then Sean's like, well, what is your relationship going to be like if he does not have sex with you? And Lily basically just says, I'll suck it up. We'll just grow old together. We'll just grow old together, I guess. But I would like to have sex, right? And the rest of the cast, for whatever reason, they're allowing the rest of the cast to almost host the show themselves. And they're like, why would you stick in a loveless relationship? Why would you stick in a relationship that is not meeting your sexual needs whatsoever? And the guys get on Josh about having sex with Lily. Sarper's like, you've got to have sex with her. If you want to make her happy, you're going to have sex. Sarper gives a whole analogy about how you just got to hit that reset button, the G spot or whatever. And the rest of the guys are like, yeah, you've got to have sex with her. James of James and Tata fame gives a very crass joke about how he told Tata the best way to keep him happy is to keep his hands full and his balls empty. It is the most gross. Anyway, but Lily basically is kind of nodding to all of this. Like, yeah, we need to figure out how to have sex. And Josh says that he struggles with it, because he's dealing with not being a provider, and Lily always telling him how much she's paid for him, and yada yada blah blah blah. And the guys kind of commiserate with that about it being a traditional value that the man provides, and how it can be a mind fuck if he's not.
I don't.
So
That's only if that's the only existence that you have to offer.
I don't know about it being the only.
That's what they're pretty much making it out to be.
No, I mean they're making it a big
If I
focus.
can't do that, then I'm not a man.
They are making it a
which
primary
means
focus.
I can't do anything else.
But it's whatever. They basically leave it up in the air.
I also think it's a crutch for whatever the nigga name is.
They leave it up in the air with Josh and Lily. Well, apparently they're gonna come back to this insanity.
Also, Dave's right. Good sex can cloud a woman's judgment. So
Okay.
I don't know why it is.
So
what it is.
I like how it's not couldn't further bond them as a couple. That's not the answer. It's gonna cloud her judgment. Okay. So
Yeah, pretty much.
then they talk to James and Natalia, aka Tata, and basically the whole thing is, girl, why do you cry so much? James don't want no kids, right? And why does your sister hate him? Tata is aware that James doesn't want to have kids, and it really upsets her because she really wants to have kids, but she also establishes that she will just suck it up and stick it out. She's going to keep hoping for the best and stay married to this man because she already made the promise.
Which means there's a lot of crying days in her future.
Goodness gracious. And then they touch on why her sister Angel hates James. And at first, the cast is against Angel. They're like, girl, do you want to get to know him? Are you going to give him a chance? And Angel's basically like, no. I'm not giving him no chances. And they're like, well, you can't really force somebody to be communicative and involved in your lives if they staunchly don't want to.
Pretty much.
But it's tainted by the fact that Angel also wants to come and visit them for an extended period of time. So they're like, he is paying for your visa. He's married to your sister and you still don't want anything to do with him. How's that going to work? But then we get a fuller story in that James has not kept promises. He definitely lied to Tata about wanting to have kids. He says he wanted them, but then 2020 happened and he saw how much the world hated each other. And so he didn't want to because the world has completely changed since 2020.
As if before that the world really loved each other.
Clearly he's very white because Corona's like, it didn't really change that much. But to James, he's like, it's a completely different world right now. I am 98% sure that James is a Trump supporter. So then we hear more from Angel about how, like, yes, there's been a lot of inconsistency when it comes to James's promises to her sister, but also the way that she met James, it just rubbed her the wrong way. They got together super fast. All of a sudden, her sister was moving, and he didn't respect the cultural norms of asking like permission in the right way for the family, like going through the parents, but also going through the older sister.
Pretty much, she felt disrespected.
Okay,
that's what all this stems from, and she's just being a sister. She's just
to you.
Being a sibling.
Your perspective is she's
all.
Just being a sibling
To me,
but I still think she is being a short-sighted sibling. Sure, she's being protective, but she also is not thinking big picture. Like, even as much as she dislikes this man, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And he's paying for your visa. So
don't mean I gotta care.
It doesn't mean you gotta care, but it also means that you are coming in with a bias. And when other people call you out on it, they're not necessarily wrong either. And like, yes, while you're trying to protect your sister, it still may not be the healthiest way to protect your sister. You're also not holding your sister accountable for her own actions in this relationship. Yes, James is doing a lot of shady shit, but she's also going right along with it. So I feel like if you're calling out people, you got to call out everybody.
I can't hold somebody accountable when I think they're being manipulated.
You can.
I can't.
You can do that.
That's how she's seen it. She's seen her sister as her sister being manipulated.
I'm just saying, like, once the show is showing all of these different perspectives in front of Angel, she takes the beat and goes, Tata, are you even happy? Like, she asked her sister straight up, are you even happy with all of this? And Tata, through all her tears, says, like, ultimately yes, but she's back in the US, which she didn't want to be. She's away from her family, which she didn't want to be. She's not getting kids.
Sounds to me like she's lying.
Wanted to have kids.
Sounds to me like she's lying.
She's incredibly unhappy, but she doesn't want to give up being with James. So
it sounds to me she's unhappy. She would rather be in her.
And I feel like if you were going to be a true sibling who's so protective of your sibling, you would point that out too. You would be like, listen, it's literally affecting your health.
I think she's pointed it out. I think now she's just going scorch earth.
I'm just saying she could have also said it in the show. So anyway, but so they
I
cover
I
all of
I
that.
think a lot of times people don't. The people, the cameras and everything. People don't really articulate themselves sometimes like they want to. They just sometimes people just freeze.
I'm just saying I understand being very protective of your sibling. I understand that. But I also understand holding everybody accountable. It's so much easier to blame one person, but the reality is it's more than one person that is causing all this strife. So, but they're going to go back to them anyway. We're going to get more of James and Tata after all of that. Then we kind of touch on Joanne and Sean. They didn't go deep into them at all. It was just like whether or not Sean has moved to the States officially. He hasn't. They're still doing the long distance thing for right now. Um, then we
Boom, 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 boom.
who else was there? No, that was it. Shekinah Sarper, those three. Styler
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
Dempsey
much it.
weren't there. Then we talked about Corona and Inky. They focused on the Corona Inky situation. Corona pre the show, like when everybody's getting ready to be in the show, was just talking about how they broke up and how she felt like basically Inky was a piece of crap because he just left. Basically, she said they had a fight and then he just was out, and she found out that they were broken up like through a text message.
I the my whole thing with them two.
I should say the whole story before you give your 2 cents. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, then you have Sarper who FaceTimes Inky and he's like, Corona's talking mad shit about you. Basically, you got to say your piece because right now, the way that she's explaining it is garnering her a lot of sympathy and you none. And Inky does not take this super seriously. He's like, I'm going to say my piece. Don't worry about it, brother. And he's laughing a little too hard at all of Sarper's very bad jokes. And then when we get to their segment to say his piece, Corona gives her statement, which is like she ended up having to go back to the States because she couldn't work in Iceland after all of her terrible planning to get there. And it
Say
just
that
kind of
again.
fell apart.
Say it again. Terrible planning.
Yeah. But then it just fell apart when she came back to the States. And then when you hear Inky's point of view, he says that he got to the States to visit her and she was a completely different person, basically. The person he knew was like this bubbly, happy, silly person. But when they were in the States, she was somebody else entirely, according to him. And it just went downhill and he left. He just straight up left and then ended up breaking up with her the way that he did. And after he gives his piece,
Break up with no makeup.
which is really short, he bolts out of there. He unplugs and rolls out. And everybody's like, what is even happening? Corona is calling him all kinds of names under the sun and how like she has no affiliation or association with him whatsoever since all of that went down. And to me, the surprising thing was that Irish Sean also cannot stand Inky, and I don't know why.
I'm not gonna rehash why he doesn't like him.
I'm gonna show
Moving
you
on.
again how that is not accurate.
Moving on. Um, I knew he was gonna leave after he said his piece because he's very nonchalant and he doesn't care. Uh, I think the issue was you had somebody who just didn't care, and somebody who, instead of being themselves, they tried to slow parent or slow partner this
No,
person.
soft. She didn't slow partner anybody.
Slow, soft, same thing.
Nope.
She tried to do something her dumb ass shouldn't have been doing, which is trying to not show her temper, and by doing that, she didn't pay attention to his nonchalantness or his "I don't care" attitude.
His attitude. I would argue that his attitude was not, I don't care. It was, I'm not even here. I'm not paying attention. Like it felt like he wasn't
It's
invested at all.
I don't care because it's gonna work itself out or whatever.
I could understand that
That's
you
it.
see it as I don't care, but I also understand how she saw it as him not being invested whatsoever, which in her eyes was different than I don't care. It was like, you don't even register. I'm not even taking into consideration that this is important. to you whatsoever.
Once again, when she told him something was important, he's like, okay. She brings it up again. He's like, whatever. He didn't care what she cared about, wasn't important. And he was I agree with you. He was in a relationship without being in the relationship.
The other thing though was like this was his first relationship. This was his first relationship. His friends were telling him, "You're gonna have to really invest in this person. It's not like anything you've ever done before." And he disregarded them. He was like, "It's not like that. We have fun."
I don't think he disregarded him. I think he was invested in the way he thought he was invested.
No, he absolutely disregarded them.
What I'm saying to you is, I think he thought he was invested in his way. I think he thought he invested by bringing her over here, having her live with him. That was, in his mind, that was the investment. She's here, we're together. That's the investment.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't take into account the extra stuff, the extra mile you have to go to.
I would argue that it's not even extra. It's par for the course. I wouldn't even say it's extra.
Sorry. You're right. It's not extra. Things you have to do in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know there was other things you had to do too.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it that he didn't know? Or is it that he honestly felt like if it didn't affect him, he didn't have to worry about it? Like
maybe he didn't know. Maybe he's true too. If it doesn't affect him, maybe he doesn't think it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It could be all of those things. I just think his nonchalant. I don't want to say he didn't care. I think it was his nonchalant attitude that it'll work itself out.
I think it was that he didn't care. That's what I think. I think it was that he honestly was like, whatever, it has anything to do with me. It'll be whatever.
I think it was willful ignorance.
But either way, there was also the relationship he got into was not with Corona.
Being lackadaisical, as some people would say.
Sure.
I think
but he also was not dating a real person. So there's also that part.
And that's another thing. She's not being herself. So now she's clouding her judgment because she's doing something she's not used to doing.
Sure.
And I think when he got to the States, she's like, screw it. We're not doing that anymore.
Right. You're getting the full show now. You're getting real Corona. And he was like, yo.
And I'm my comfort zone. And that scared the hell out of him.
Right. Right.
And he's like, I'm done. Because now seems like to me you're just angry.
I don't even know if it's just the angry part.
I think he thought it was just anger.
I don't know. Because, I mean, it didn't help that Sarper kept saying that she was very loud and angry and just giving a lot of stereotypes about Black women, putting it into Corona.
Once again, it was just angry. He just thought
He never said angry, though. Like, when he was explaining how things started to go bad.
I don't think he knows how to explain too good neither.
But what I'm saying is, like, the way that he implied that things were going bad was just that, honestly, she wasn't baiting him anymore. Like, that's kind of the impression it gave. Was like she wasn't, in her words, soft partnering him. She wasn't laughing at the jokes that he normally gave. She wasn't like coddling him and doing whatever that she normally, according to what he had known her to do. She wasn't doing any of that anymore. And he was like, who is a stranger? So it was a both situation. But that was it for the tell-all. I'm just going to show Calvin a little proof here.
That means absolutely nothing.
What are you talking about? It's facts.
It has nothing to do with individuals.
It's facts.
It has nothing to do with a country.
Calvin has a theory that the reason that Irish Sean does not like Icelandic Inky is because he's from Iceland.
Yes.
And I don't know why he thinks this, but he does. Even though I'm showing him all of the stuff that says that is not a thing. And he says no.
I am correct.
How?
You will never know, ladies and gentlemen.
You
will never know.
You're not correct.
Because A, I'm not going to remember, and B, she's not going to tell you.
First of all, you're telling me they're going to come back to the next tell-all, and when they get to Irish Sean, he's going to be like, as a matter of fact, nobody in Ireland likes anybody from Iceland. It's a long-standing feud between us and Iceland.
He's not going to say no feud. He'll be like, we don't like you.
Why is he gonna say it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, that was a tell-all.
Say something similar to it, and I'm not gonna remember this whole conversation.
How is he gonna say something similar to it? They don't even have an animosity history at all. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
No. Temperature but 100 degrees. We're going to lie after lockup.
I like how you pick and choose when you're going to start screaming. Anyway, life after lockup.
Screaming knows no rules, Siobhan.
Screaming knows no rules. You do. You know rules.
I hear voices, but I can't see them with my eyes.
I hear voices, but my eyes don't lie. Anyway, so love after lockup. I'm gonna save my favorite couple for the
Your
end.
thing is starting to boom.
Oh, it's gonna doesn't matter. I'm gonna save my favorite couple for later. Let's talk about Calvin's favorite couple, Zariah and Troy. We kick it off.
No,
nice
that's
and strong.
Not my favorite couple. That's my couple. I want him to punch her in the face.
Actually, let's do the boring couple and get them out of the way. We'll come back to Zariah and Troy. Let's get the boring couple out of the way, which
Put the crackheads first.
Let's get rid of Justine and Michael because they don't do anything.
Pretty much, she calls her mom, and the baby's like, "Why are you gonna do that?"
The baby covers her ears. Like, why?
The baby like, "That's crazy."
The situation is that Justine is pregnant. They've told no one. They had to tell Michael's mom because Michael's mom moved in with them. And now they have to tell Justine's mom because Justine's mom is about to come down for their other baby's first birthday. And the day after that, Justine is going into labor for the next baby. Justine's mom was already not happy that she was having Manhattan Barbie.
That's crazy.
And now she's having a whole other baby. And it was Michael's idea not to tell the moms.
I'll be honest with you. I thought it was like a baby shower or something. I didn't realize she was going in the hospital.
Some people do have like another baby shower, but this is baby number 10. And you're having another baby shower for baby number 10?
Why at this point? I understand why at this point.
So crazy.
No one's going to show up.
You told no one. So Justine tells her mom on the phone that that's what's going on. And her mom is like, what is wrong with you? You're struggling as is. And now you're having another baby. Michael's answer of we're just letting God.
Because God does.
Because, sir, you're having sex with your wife. Anyway.
Pretty much, I guess he said some DJ Khaled stuff.
But the other thing is they're getting it from all sides. The doctors are like, why would you do this again? Your body will die. Why are you doing this again?
And then her mom goes, the fuck you bringing God into this bullshit?
Because for
and
what?
Hangs up.
I agree with her. Because what kind of cop-out answer is that? Is God giving you money? Because you guys are struggling.
God can.
You're struggling. And you're popping out all these babies.
Another one.
Justine's getting up in age. She's already high-risk pregnancy because of all the other pregnancies that she's had.
Another one.
What are you talking about?
Another one.
So crazy. And I think Michael said that he wanted to have like another 4 or 5.
Another one.
Sir, what? Anywho.
One kid at a time.
Justine is like, this is why I don't talk to my mom. She's not happy about anything. And it's like, is that or is she just realistic?
Because you just told your mom you're having another one.
What, is she just realistic about stuff? Is that why you hate her? So then we have Melissa and Louis' storyline. Melissa goes wedding dress shopping.
How much do you think this is just them scripted and them just trying to be
sure 98% of it is because it plays out like a soap opera. Melissa goes wedding dress shopping. This is her second wedding, by the way. She was married previously.
With her friend and her sister and her mother-in-law.
Yes. So it's her friend Fran. I have no idea what her sister's name is. And Donna, which is Louis' mom.
Asshole nosy.
Donna, who can't stand Melissa and is not a fan of this wedding, shows up for the wedding dress shopping. So why?
First of all, she always has an issue because Donna didn't.
Melissa didn't pick her up. Melissa's sister picks her up.
That's already an issue.
It's hilarious. So they go in there, and Melissa's sister and her friend Fran are already like, yeah, I don't know that I agree with all of this. They feel like the marriage part is moving way too fast.
And apparently he stole a ring and he doesn't have money.
They're like, there's no way he could afford that 2-carat ring. And this man literally has so many jobs. But they're like
literally a Jamaican or a Haitian.
They're like, he only works at these places. He's a trainer. He's got the smoothie place and the pizza place. There's no way he's making that much money. And it's like, do you know how much a trainer makes? Do you know how much a trainer makes? Anyway, so then Melissa's trying on dresses. Donna is giving her opinion on all of them. They kind of lean towards this one dress. It's very form fitting, corseted, sweetheart neckline dress. That's about 4 grand without alterations. And then if they add all those alterations that she wants to do, it's going to be a nice 6. But Donna's like, why would you pay this much money for a dress? And they keep showing
Money,
us pictures
money,
of Donna's previous weddings
money.
where she's just in like a tank top. So that's the bar.
They showed all her hillbilly weddings.
They really did. Then our next really didn't have a whole lot of storyline couple, Teenie and Rob. Teenie and Rob,
Teeny.
they went to their friend's triple wide trailer to go bowling. And
That's literally what it looked like. It looked like they took a trailer and put 3 bowling lanes in it. They're like,
they said, good to go.
have fun.
Good to go. You don't need to change no shoes. You're good. So they go bowling, and the whole event is so that Rob can meet Teeny's sister for the first time. She's got a sister, Lakeisha, who's there. And it's also Rob trying to get the family to try to have a softer approach towards his mom after the whole Teeny mom fight that happened. The kids are like, we'd be willing, but we want an apology from this lady. I don't know why they want this. Teeny swung first. Anyway.
We didn't see what happened, Javon.
We didn't see what happened? Yes, we did.
Apparently, they didn't see.
So many questions. So, Teeny tells her mom and her sister that her and Rob have decided they're going to have a baby, which is triggering for her sister, Lakeisha. Lakeisha immediately starts crying. And we find out it's because Teeny had a very difficult pregnancy with Maya, her youngest son. She had a very difficult pregnancy. She almost died in the process. Maya almost died in the process. So Lakeisha's very triggered by her attempting to have another pregnancy, especially with how much older Teeny is now.
Apparently, the mom was like, I don't know why she's crying. This shit is ridiculous.
The mom always seems to like not know what's happening at some point. She always just kind of seems to be there. But Lakeisha gives her whole story about like how scared she was for her sister and how like, even though she's happy for her sister, she's scared again, especially given the climate that we're currently in regards to like what safety precautions are going to be in place for her. It's not the safest time, unfortunately, for a woman to have a baby, let alone a Black woman having a baby. So there's that.
Slew them.
Then what was another couple we can talk about? Brittany and Karak. They have had the bright idea to get Brittany a visitation, I guess, permission so that she can go to Houston. So she's on like a 30-day travel permission basically to go to Houston, Texas, so that they can move into their apartment. They're dumb as hell. So that's how they decided to mitigate Brittany not being able to move there. They're just going to keep getting visit passes. I don't know why they think this is going to work long term. But we get to see their apartment, and Calvin clocked it immediately. It's not in a great part of town. Then we find out Brittany is spending Karak's money to furnish this apartment, and they running out of it, basically. Karak's not working yet, and they're just blowing through his savings. Then we find out that Brittany has no intentions to help with the financial part of where they're going to be living at in any way.
Is where I say people made it seem like Karak had.
I'll tell the whole story. So Karak's mom and her boyfriend come over. The boyfriend, who I'm very sure is the same age as Karak. Then they are talking about like, how did they get Brittany here? They talk about how it's a visit permission basically, and then they're talking about like what are they going to do moving forward then? If she's just visiting, how is that going to work? Like in terms of work, in terms of trying to pay for the place they're currently in. And Brittany goes, "Oh, I'm not worried about working." And they go, "What do you mean? Weren't you going to school?" She goes, "I'm not going to school either." And they go, "What? What are you doing then? What is the plan? What's going on? How are you paying your restitution?" And that's when we get the full story of how like part of her robbery stitch, basically her parole, which was for good behavior, she would either have to serve the remaining 17 years of her sentence if she doesn't pay her restitution. So she's been paying it like piece at a piece right now. instead of just paying it outright. And when production of the show asks her why she didn't just pay it outright, which indicates that the money they're making for being on the show could have either dented that restitution or paid it off. She's like, "Well, I just live a certain way, and I'm not going to budge from that. I'm not going to get my clothes from the dollar store." Girl, where you getting your clothes from? Anyway, so apparently they might have the money to take care of it, but she don't want to. She don't want to use her money in that way. And then she talks about how like the reason she's not working is because she's not going to get paid the way she wants to get paid either. And in the industry that she wants to get paid in. And there's just so many question marks because she was going to cosmetology school for
Cosmopolitan school.
for hair, and then she was like not doing hair. Then she was going to be a beautician. She was going to get into makeup, and then she said I'm not going to do that either. And then she got into nails. And then she said she's not going to do that either. And then she was going to do lashes. And she was not going to do that either. Girl, so anyway. So part of the big reason why she can't go to Texas, can't move there, is this restitution. And if she were able to knock out that restitution, she could have been in Texas. Anyway. So it's her and Karak fighting around that, or around the details of that. Plus it's getting closer to her having to go back to Virginia by herself. Because now Karak is in Texas and is going to be starting up his job as an HVAC specialist. And that's where we left them, basically. You want to say your piece about how you think she's in control?
Okay.
You're distracted?
No, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, because you're distracted.
No, when I had it, you didn't want me to say it. Oh yeah. Okay, there it is. People, a lot of people say it's Karak who's really pulling the strings in this relationship, and that Brittany always follows what he says or whatever. Booty boo. Seems like Brittany's the one that controls this relationship, and then Karak just does what she wants to do. That's what it seems like to me. Because she chooses she don't want to work, and he's like, "You got to work." She's like, "I don't want to." He's like, okay." And also, it seems to me like he's ready to be single again. So I don't know. Maybe he's at his wit's ends. Who knows? I don't know. But maybe this is a storyline they're just trying to gin up. I don't know. But it seems like she controls that relationship and he's just in it.
I think there's certain aspects that she controls, and there's certain aspects that he controls. Like when he made the decision they should get married, she really struggled with telling him no. She really struggled.
I think that's just.
And when he told her to quit her job in the first season, she did it. And when he told her just to focus on school for a little bit of time, she did that before she decided to drop out of that. So there are instances where what he says does go and she follows suit with it. But I think it also created the situation that they're in. Like you said before, I feel like Karak had intentions of just being a straight provider and having somebody who was just going to be wifey and not have to worry about money in that way. But that's not how it was working out. And now they're in a situation where they need both people to work. But it was already established she didn't have to. And now she's absolutely being like, I don't have to. So that's what's happening there. Then we also have Daniel and Bianca, who are crazy. Daniel keeps pointing out Bianca's immaturity. She fully runs away from their meeting at the restaurant with Gator. Like we're still at the visit with Daniel's friend Gator.
You shouldn't have a friend.
And she ran away.
Gator. That's my.
She
that's
ran
my
away.
2 cents about that.
She didn't like the conversation that Gator was having about how like you should really be invested in your partner and get to know them before you start getting engaged. She wasn't appreciative of that at all. And she didn't like that Daniel said nothing on her behalf. He didn't try to stick up for her. Nothing. According to her.
Because Daniel agrees.
He did agree. But for me, the messed up thing about that is Daniel already proposed. It'd be one thing if they were dating this entire time and he never proposed. He already proposed to this girl and is now kind of like reneging that. He's kind of being like, well, that was just kind of something I said in jail. You know, I didn't mean it like that. Like that's his approach to it. And she's like, for her, she feels like she sacrificed a bunch of stuff under the guise that they were engaged. And now that they're not engaged, she feels like she was made to be a fool, which honestly she brought it on herself. But neither here nor there.
Oh, dear, big time.
She runs out. He does not chase after her. Gator's like, Daniel, go get her. He's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Get it. I ain't going to get no girl.
So Gator turns to his own fiance and goes, go get Bianca, this girl she met today.
She goes,
She goes, are you sure you want me to go? Okay, I'll go get her. She tries to. She gets in the car with Bianca and they talk like for a half a second. And Bianca's like, I'm just done. I'm not going back in there. This is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. And Bianca drives off. So she strands Daniel at the restaurant.
What's new? He's always stranded. So what's new about this time?
Daniel tries to kind of apologize for the blow up, and then he has to get himself an Uber. And when he gets back to the apartment, the first thing Bianca says is, let's at least cuddle in the bed. For what? Where she then just continues to yell at him for not proposing to her, saying he was going to propose to her, saying that he told her they were engaged, and how he's not doing anything else moving forward, and how she's frustrated by it. And then they decide to not talk anymore. That's how they're going to handle the situation. Because she also has to pick up her best friend. Her best friend is here, who hates Daniel, by the way, so that she can complain to her best friend about the latest thing that has happened, which she does. And her best friend's just, it's just more fuel to the fire of her not liking Daniel, when I really feel like she needs to turn that lens to Bianca. But whatever. And that's where we leave it. Daniel's about to get the shock of his life. So then we have Kim and Joey. Kim has been wondering if Joey is on that stuff. Is he on a schmack? Is he on the white dust?
He on that shit. He on that shit.
She knows something's up. She doesn't believe him that he just doesn't feel good. She thinks he's using. She thinks he's faded. So he had left to go to urgent care in the previous episode, and he has not come back. It's now like late evening. She's putting the boys to bed, and she's just wondering, like, where is he? She's monitoring his checking account that they opened that afternoon, and he's already depleted it. So she's like, and she can't see what he's spending it on because he did a cash withdrawal, so she can't see what he's spending. I'm just saying, this is a lot of work in the background scenes for her, for somebody she's supposed to trust and love. Anyway, he finally gets back home, and he acts like nothing happened. And she's like, "What? Where have you been? The boys have been asking after you," which they were, all of this, that, and that. And he's like, "What? I'm home." Blah 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 blah. He acts like it's not a big deal. She's like, "I'm worried. You're acting really weird, and I want to know if you're using." And she gives this whole backstory of how, like, her ex-husband, he started out fine, then all of a sudden he started drinking hard, but he was leaving her alone when he got drunk. But then she found out he was using drugs, and that was the final line for her. Alcoholism, she cool with. The drugs, that's a no. So that's why she says, even though he was cheating on me with like 17 different people,
that white horse,
the final line was drug usage. So she is asking him straight up, are you on drugs? And he's like, no. She's like, all right, well, prove it. And she pulls out a drug test. She pulls out a piss cup.
Her pantaloons.
And goes, pee in this. She makes this man drink a bunch of orange juice so that he can pee in a cup.
I think that was all orange juice, and that's why they pop like that.
I don't think all orange juice pops cocaine. So
that's what I think it is. Now that you think about it, yeah, he didn't drink water. He drank a bunch of orange juice.
But what's gagging me is that he still did the piss test. Like, why did he even do? Anyway, he does a piss test, and she's waiting for it to show what the indicators are. He shows up negative for almost everything except cocaine. She's like, it's cocaine.
Do you want to ride?
And Joey,
the white horse.
Joey has bewilderment on his face. He's like, I don't know why it's even popping like that. I don't know what this is about.
Joey's
this
about
is a
to
faulty
ride.
Test. But he also is mad. Now he's mad at Kim for not even trusting him. And he jets out of there. He rolls out. My thing is, they just recorded him violating his parole. So what are they going to do with that? Anyway.
Joey's riding the white horse.
I also can't help but feel like this is pretty karmic for Kim, who kept rubbing it in her cousin's face that she was now with with her cousin's first ever boyfriend.
Take that, take that, take that.
And her cousin was like, he's going to hurt you. And she was like, no. And now this. So quite karmic. Now Calvin's favorite couple of all time, Zariah and Troy. She's on one. Zariah wakes up to Troy.
She did take her bipolar medication.
Zariah wakes up or gets out of the house. They're getting ready for Community Day. It's a big deal for their nonprofit. The nonprofit is on shaky ground right now because they don't have the grants
That is an understatement.
or the contracts needed basically for funding. They don't have any of that. So they need Community Day to go well. They need to sign up at least 50 kids so that they can be a charitable organization in order to be eligible for a charitable organization for their local area. So she's stressed about Community Day. Troy goes to the car to see a police officer putting a boot on a tire. And then he has to go get Zariah because the officer won't tell him what's going on. He says he has to talk to the person who owns the vehicle. So Zariah gets down there and he's basically like, call his 800 number, find out how much you owe. If you don't know why you get a boot on your car, it's because you don't pay no tickets. Whether that's parking tickets, speeding tickets, you ain't paying what you're supposed to be paying for your stuff. So he's like, call this number, and it's a fancy lock or a fancy boot because it's got its own release pad where after you pay, you get the code and you can just take it off yourself. So many questions. But anyway, so Zariah's already feeling away because that was like $550 worth of tickets that she had not paid. And she's like, could this day be any worse? It's supposed to be a happy day, our anniversary day. She talks about how this is the first anniversary they've had since he's been out, basically, implying that all their other anniversaries they had to celebrate while he was behind the bars. And he hasn't even
Locked
said
up.
happy anniversary to her yet. And then on top of that, she had a boot in her car. And plus the stress of Community Day. She's like, this is just the worst day. And Troy's kind of like, yeah. And he's tapping away on his phone. And she's like, she gets mad at him for tapping on the phone. She feels like he's being distracted and he needs to pay attention to her and he's not doing it. And she's just cursing up a storm about all kinds of stuff. Then they get to the church. They're doing Community Day in her parents' church parking lot.
Did you say she kicked them out to make them walk?
Well, they get there to get some stuff unpacked and then find out what else they need to go get. They get that list, and Troy goes to drive so they can start knocking out that list. And she gets mad that he's not moving fast enough in the car. So she makes him pull the car over so he can switch seats so she can drive. And I'm not sure why. And then she gets mad again that he's on his phone. Then they go get their stuff or whatever. And she's still fussing. She's still mad about everything, the world. She's mad at everything. And she's just tanking it out on Troy. And she gets to the point where she kicks him out the vehicle. They're in the middle of the road. And she kicks him out and drives off. And he's got to ask the production van for a ride. The production van, mind you, that's videotaping him walking in the van, not offering anything. Hysterical.
This TV show's cold-blooded, man.
They do. They give him a ride. They open up the trunk of the van.
Like he a stowaway or like he's a
like he a hobo on the streets.
Like he a hitchhiker. Like they just saw somebody hitchhiking and picked them up.
They said, come on in, sir. We'll drop you off at the next gas station. So he gets a ride with the production van back to the community church. He gets back there and he finds out his phone is blowing up from his mom. Turns out his mom has come down with his daughter, who was supposed to come visit him for the community day. And he has not been able to get the car for himself and to go get them. So they've been sitting waiting to be picked up for at least an hour at this point. And he's like, I'm on my way. Zariah's on one right now. He begs his mom to talk to Zariah. And his mom is like, all right. And then later goes, she's a psychotic bitch. Anyway, so then Troy,
the granddaughter's right there. She didn't say cover your ears, baby, or nothing.
Troy's mom does not care. So Troy,
she on that
heads outside from the church to go to get the car and go get him. And Zariah storms out and is like, where are you going? And he's like, I got to pick up my mom and my daughter. And she's like, you ain't going nowhere. We got to do this. We got to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, finally, Troy has had it. And he gives it right back to Zariah. And it's like, you telling me I can go pick up my daughter? Colt, no, you're going too far. You're not coming between me and my daughter. I got to go get my daughter. And Zariah's like, I don't know why you think that, blah, 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 blah. And she's trying to go back and forth with him, but he doesn't want, he leaves. He leaves, presumably to go get her, go get his daughter. And that's where we leave
Why?
it.
On his foot and put her on her back and he can walk her back? With what? He's walking. How that going to work out?
He was walking towards the car.
No, he was walking towards the street.
He was walking towards the car because they're in the back.
I'm telling you.
He had the keys in his hand.
No, she was standing at the car yelling at him, where you going?
No, she was in front of the church. She wasn't at the car.
I think you
you can play it right now instead of watching your car show.
Watch that part.
You need to watch it again because she comes out the front and he has the keys in his hand. So anywho, either way, she's trying to tell him he can't go get his daughter for some reason. And he's like, no, I'm going to go get my daughter. And that's where we left it. And that is life after Lockup. But
I'll go back.
Is there any other shows you're watching, Calvin?
I've been watching a lot of NFL football and sports and basketball lately. Just like briefly. There's no shows that I'm really watching. I got to get caught up on some shows. But as far as like new shows, checking out, no, none that comes off the top of my mind.
I've been watching Tulsa King. It just finished up its season. It's really good.
I can't get into Sylvester Stallone. I don't understand what the hell he's saying. All his characters remind me of Rocky. He sounds like Rocky.
I'm just saying, all the anime you watched that is not dubbed, and you can't watch Sylvester Stallone.
No,
that doesn't make any sense at all. So, but Tulsa King was actually really good. It's a whole thing about a mafioso person, basically, who served time for his group. Basically, he took the fall for his group, and then when he gets out, according to tradition, he's kind of owed and entitled to certain things, and he doesn't get any of it at all. All the old people that used to be in power are either like retired or dead. And the new regime that kind of took up, they don't respect any of the old ways whatsoever. So he gets basically exiled to Oklahoma, to Tulsa, Oklahoma. They tell him to like look at what the basically like the weed front is for everything and try to gain territory for them. And he's like, he knows it's like a nothing assignment for him just to get him out of the way, but he makes it into something. He ends up becoming the king of Tulsa. He ends up becoming this major player in the drug game out that way. And it's just really good. It was really, really good. And now I'm watching Landman, which is a whole series about oil in Texas. And it is good.
Texas.
It is good. It is along the lines of like organized crime and what they're doing. And a lot of the stuff, I ended up like looking into it. A lot of the stuff of how the oil companies handle gaining land and what the rig workers go through. Holy cow! How are they not all in prison? So, but it's great. Landman is actually really, really good right now. It's got Billy Bob Thornton as the lead. The only thing I don't like about Landman is that all of the women so far that they've shown fall into two camps. They're either airheads who can't wait to get naked, or they're like really stiff, cold wannabes. They're trying to be like business people, but they're also quick to like demean them. So it's outside of that, the storyline's actually pretty decent. So that's all I got. You got anything else, Calvin?
No, I'm good. Enjoy the week, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not paying attention. He's watching football. Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. And rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.